Welcome to the Depth Perception Podcast.
We go in depth about the perception and misconceptions of optometry,
which include the business of optometry,
social issues within optometry,
and life as an optometry student.
Coming straight from Dr. Jasdeep Singh Soni,
Dr. Nadia Afghami,
Dr. Douglas Akiti,
and Dr. Svetlana Nunez. We hope you enjoy this episode.
Hello, everyone. We got the team back, and we got a special guest.
Hello.
Shaminder Dhaliwal. Hello. Give it up for him.
What's up, man? What's good?
Dapper eye
Welcome to
dog.
the pod.
So Dapper, he has his sunglasses on right now.
These are not sunglasses. These are tinted lenses that are meant to be worn indoors and outdoors.
Whoa.
Lock him
Let
in.
them know.
Combination of function and fashion at the same time.
That's why he's the Dapper eye dog.
Now you can't knock all the celebrities who are wearing tinted lenses at courtside games, right?
I would never. Joe Jonas wears tinted lenses, and he is my idol.
See, there you go. Well, thanks, guys. First, I want to say it's a pleasure to be here, and I'm excited to have our conversation rolling.
So if our listeners haven't heard of you before, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, for sure. So my name is Shaminder. I am born and raised in Winnipeg, Manitoba, which is actually that beautiful city right over there, blocked by a basketball. Winnipeg, Manitoba is, for people that don't know, it is north of North Dakota, so very central in the prairies. That's my hometown. And then from there, I traveled to Chicago to do my Doctor of Optometry degree. ICO alum, represent the ICO always. And I currently am a practicing optometrist in Edmonton, Alberta. So that's where the Oilers reside. And it's the fun fact, it is the most northern major city with a population of over 1 million people.
Another fun fact, I think like 90% of people who go to IUPR are from Edmonton, Canada, for whatever reason.
You know what? You're not wrong, because there's actually a lot of doctors that did go there. So you probably do know a few of them for sure. I was not one of them. I went to the Windy City, which I'm biased, but in my opinion is the best city in the States. But I'm biased for sure.
I could start a whole debate. Don't get us started, man.
There's a lot of debates we could get going here, that's for sure.
And not just practicing, you're an owner.
That's correct. Yes, I do co-own my practice. So I graduated in 2019. I started practicing in August of 2019. And then I practiced for, September, October, November, December, January, about 7 or 8 months. And then the world shut down during COVID. And during that time, I was looking at different paths of where I was going to take my life, and the opportunity to move to Edmonton came. And then the opportunity to open the practice came at the same time. So, during that time, my cousins call me the crazy cousin because, pandemic started. I moved across provinces, which is about a 14-hour drive away from where my entire family was. And I started a business, all with the uncertainty of COVID in October of 2020.
Started a business and an influencer, right? So we saw you in Vision Expo here. You were at the influencer events, and you're all over social media, TikTok. I saw you doing some lip reading and some benching. Tell us about what you got going with influencing on social media.
Great. Let me start you from the beginning. So in 2018, I kind of had the idea that I wanted to start a page about optometry, and more than just optometry, but about kind of I know, sometimes using the word influence is hard for me, but kind of infusing my passions and about life into that page. So I started it when I was in the third year of optometry school. And as I'm sure many people feel that imposter syndrome, I kept it a secret from all of my friends at school. And I posted maybe for about 4 weeks on there. And of course, somebody finds it, right? And they're like, hey, who is this fake account going on here? And then I had to say, that's not a fake account. That's actually me. And, I look back and I wonder why I kept it a secret. And I think it's just the fear of kind of the unknown of where it's going to go, and the fear of people thinking like, oh, what is this going on? And in 2018, there were for sure, other pages online. I wouldn't say that I at least knew of many myself. Until I started working more into it as well too. And I'm going to take a step further back. I think it kind of bloomed from something else that happened to me when I was a kid. When I was maybe in middle school, early high school, but I think it was maybe middle school, I started a YouTube channel. And I was reviewing, basic tech stuff. I love tech. So I was reviewing, I think I had an unboxing of an iPod Touch and a review of an iPod Touch. And all my boys found it after I kept it a secret. And what do? They joke, they make fun of you for it. So what did I do? I deleted it because it was just, I guess, embarrassing for me at the time. And then, so when I look back at why I might have done that with the Dapper Eye Doc page in the beginning, I think it has to do with influence of that previous experience. But this time I had the guts to say, I don't care. And I'm just going to roll with it. It lives on to this day as well, too. So, although, if anybody knows Marquez Brownlee, MKBHD, the tech review guy, he's from New York as well. Me and him started at the same time. I feel he has millions of subscribers, probably makes millions of dollars a year. And I blame my friends for not letting me be that same level, because that could have been me.
I was going to say, I feel that same way. Like, I started doing like YouTube videos and things like that, little skits back in like middle school, high school. And then, like you said, just a little embarrassment of just like being in your thing. And I don't know, I like just stopped doing it, and then come to find out people do that now, and it's like so big and it's crazy. But, everyone has their own path and everything happens for a reason, right? So
Exactly, 100%. And that's where, and I'm sure we'll touch more onto it as we continue our conversation, where imposter syndrome is such a real thing. And I still feel like that to this day in certain aspects of life and with the social media page as well too. But I feel like there's some things I would say that I have evolved in mentally preparing so you don't fall into that rabbit hole of that imposter syndrome. But it's a real thing. And that's YouTube, social media, whatever it is. Whenever you're putting yourself out there, even on a day-to-day basis as patients, conversations too, right? Choosing what you're going to share with your patient. Imposter syndrome is a real thing, especially online.
So yeah, let's get into that. I mean, I think you were there when we had our panel discussion, and imposter syndrome was one of the topics we talked about in school that you might have, or even being a young OD, being fresh out. So how did you get over imposter syndrome, and how did you kind of embrace the Dapper OD emblem, if you will?
Yeah. So I'll talk about the being young OD. I still feel like a young OD, but I don't know. What do you guys classify as young OD? What's the cutoff?
We have had many a debate. So we think it's like the first like 10 years after school, basically.
I thought we said the first 5.
5 to
5 to
10.
7.
I'm almost there. And JD's almo's there too. So
JD's
Nice.
Done. It's over 5. Yeah.
So we gotta
graduated in
stretch it out. I
2020.
think like we're thinking like 10. See, it's a topic of debate, but yeah,
I would say
at heart.
depending on the age of the person too. So if they're 5 but plus over 35, or less than 10 under 30, or between 30 35, if that made sense.
There's a formula. You know how you do vertexing? It's like the same.
So you guys are going to develop an app for this, because there's an app for every formula now as well too. So
There we go.
There we go.
yeah, watch. I already know once you guys hit season 17, you guys are still going to be pushing that young OD number higher and higher and higher is what's going to happen.
Absolutely.
I'm young. What are you trying to
Hey,
say?
we're all young. Always going to stay young. Coming out of school, I'll tell you, I'll give you an example of where I felt the imposter syndrome and then where I felt like I could try to escape it. It was early on in my practicing days. I had a case in which I saw a patient, and they were a young child and they had some corneal issues. Almost looked like the cornea was, I don't say melting, but it looked like it was caving in. We had just cycled that patient. So I was like, wait a minute, like, did I do this? Like, am I doing something wrong? You start doubting everything. Should I have cycled that patient? Should I have not? Did I cause this? Did they do this to themselves? And, in that moment, thankfully, I worked at a practice where I had multiple doctors on at once. And I was told on day one by who was the individual who's now my business partner. He said, never be shy to say, tell the patient, I want a second set of eyes to look at this, because they appreciate you trying to go in that extra mile of having another person's opinion, because they trust you at the end of the day. More often than not, the doubts in the first year or longer than that for imposter syndrome as a young doctor, a young OD, or a new grad, it's all between the ears. And when you are dealing with a situation like I was, you start doubting a lot of things, including your knowledge, including your practicing skills, including your communication with the patient about in that moment. Are you seeming scared, or are you seeming unconfident in what you're talking about? So the individual, my business partner, Dr. Woods, who helped me in that situation, we talked about it. And then afterwards he said, so you know what scared you? And I said, yeah. And then he said, I know what made you think twice about what's going on. And he said, yeah. He's like, do you think the patient did? And I said, I'm not sure. He's like, I can promise you 99% of the time, if there's ever a doubt in your mind, talk yourself through it, but trust yourself. You are the confident one in the room. You're the one with the knowledge in that room. And don't be afraid to diagnose and treat the way you want to, because at the end of the day, you're doing what's best for the patient. And no matter what, in your first year, you always have those patients on your mind when you're going to bed at night. Shoot, should I have done that? Should I not have done that? And you're always going to talk to yourself, and that's going to happen for a little while, but you have to learn to trust yourself. And once you kind of figure out, hey, tell yourself and have the confidence of, I'm the expert in this room with this patient. I'm the one that they're coming help for. Understanding that it's not bad to ask for help or ask for another set of eyes, or just be honest with your patient. Hey, I want to refer you to someone who I think is going to provide you with better service with the condition. Once you kind of get through that loophole of understanding you don't have to know everything, I feel like that really changes that imposter syndrome as a new grad. It's balancing confidence, but balancing that it's okay not to know everything. And another example of that is like, how many times do we have to, how many courses or semesters do we take of pharmacology in school? At ICO, we take a 1 year worth, but one class a semester, essentially, or quarter for us. How much time do pharmacists spend on pharmacology? 4 years worth, right? So when a patient asks me a drug question, I say, hey, we learn a lot about drugs in school, but honestly, I'd rather when you take this prescription to the pharmacy, ask the pharmacist who's the expert, who's probably going to give you better advice. And when you can kind of get over that loop of feeling you don't have to know it all, and it's better to go to somebody else who might have a little expertise in it, I feel like that's when you really take that leap from imposter syndrome, at least as a practicing situation.
Wow, I really love what you shared. I feel like being a new grad, it just really clicked. And especially, I want to highlight that you said basically asking others, being okay to reach out to others for help. So technically, you're not calling the pharmacist and being like, hey, explain this to the patient, but you're telling the patient, like, hey, you can reach out to the pharmacist and you can talk to them. So I really like that. At least I'm noting that down for the future.
Yeah, and it takes time, honestly. Like you're gonna find situations where you're still gonna question if you should ask somebody or you should direct it. But like for example, what I always tell people is we work closely with the medical doctors, family doctors around our clinic, and I've gone and done presentations there. We first opened up with services we can provide their patients. Most family doctors hate anything to do with the eyes, absolutely anything to do with the eyes. And for those of you who've been practicing, I'm sure you had a case where a patient went to the family doctor for an eye problem. They gave them tobramycin and said, go on your way. And later do you know it's a foreign body, or later do you know it's herpes simplex, right? Or later do you know the red eye is not just your basic bacterial infection, and they're coming to you with uveitis, right? Or I've had a case where a patient came to me with angle closure, right? And the doctor gave him tobramycin. How exciting is it when the doctor says, you know what, go visit your optometrist, or here's a referral to an optometrist. They're the expert with the eyes. I trust them. Go deal with them, right? So when we're dealing with I do with pharmacy now, it's like, you know what, if someone does this for me, I should do that with other stuff as well. If my office doesn't do vision therapy, but I think his patient will be very good from vision therapy, don't be shy to refer them to somebody else for vision therapy, or for the pharmacal questions, right? The drug questions, don't be shy to pass it to the expert, because as much as we want people to trust us with their eyes, we also do what's best for the patient in that situation when it's, I don't want to say a little out of your wheelhouse, but again, in the early stages, knowing everything is a normal thing.
I have a question for you. You briefly touched a little bit about like how you got to optometry, but what I wanted to ask specifically is, when did you know that you wanted to own a private practice? Was this like in school, right out of school when you first started practicing? Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, good question. So I'm sure the perception of being in private practice and then not being in private practice in every school is probably slightly different. So I'm going to go with my experience at ICO. And ICO, again, I always tell anybody that any student in undergrad that wants to go to optometry school, I say, hey, ICO is the one. I'm a huge rep of it. It's my favorite place, and I'll always rep the school. That's just how I do things and what I'm proud of. But many times people, and not even just optometry students, but family members and friends, all basically say, why don't you open your own business? Well, how come you don't open your own clinic? Why don't you have your own practice going, right? And it's this perception that if you're in private practice, it's the pristine. And if you're not, then it's not that kind of A+ level of achievement. And I don't believe that at all. I don't think that's a complete fair assessment of it. I think, so for me, I'll take a step back here and I'll go into why I chose it. When I wanted to become an optometrist, actually, it wasn't my first career choice initially. I got braces when I was in grade 7. And then when I got my braces off, I felt like it changed my life, and I wanted to be an orthodontist. So I shadowed an orthodontist in grade 10 and absolutely hated it. I hated every minute of it. I'm a very social person. I like positive environments. And in a dental office, I don't want to say it's negative, but people's perception of dentists is usually not fun, if that's a fair way to say it. And I loved going to the dentist. That's why I thought it was my like going to the dentist for me is an exciting day to feel that freshness, that cleanness of your teeth, and making sure your oral hygiene is good. So I love it, but not most general perception is that it's not a sort of quote unquote a fun place. And again, I like to talk with the patients. So is it pretty hard to have a conversation? How many times does your hygienist or doctor, dentist try to have a conversation with you while they have their hands in your mouth? Right? It's not very easy or fun. So I moved on and I finished high school and I applied to business school in undergrad because I knew I'd liked business, but I was kind of scared to give up my science kind of joy as well too, and math joy. So math was a little bit in business, but science was being let go. And then one of my teachers said, "Oh, why don't you be an optometrist?" And I said, "I don't know." So I shadowed an optometrist and it was fun. It was joyful. And I was able to talk to people. And ultimately, it kind of gave me the opportunity potentially to have best of both worlds. I can help people with their most precious sense, their sight, something do good for the patient, but then also have the opportunity to open a business if I wanted to. And that was something that I was really excited to do. And that's where it started. And then throughout school, I was always trying to be kind of keeping that in the back of my mind in terms of wanting to do it because it was kind of something I had interest in before school. And after school, I started as an associate. And I'm sure you all hear the saying of, when's the perfect time to start your own practice? And people say there is no perfect time. Hence, I opened up in COVID. And there really is no perfect time to open or know when to do it. It's just when you got to take that leap of faith, you got to do it. That's my journey of why I wanted to do private practice. Now, I do also want to say that if that kind of sort of pedestal of being a private practice or opening a practice that I think students are kind of told or kind of are given that information, I don't think it's fair. I don't think being a private practice is the only or best way to go. You can be so successful and you can have so much joy in your life working in different modalities. And I tell students when they want to be an optometrist, one of the best perks of being an optometrist is you can make your career in so many different ways. If you want to see patients 7 days a week, you can do it. If you want to see patients 3 days a week, you can do it. If you want to open a business where you see patients, but do work on the business side of things, which typically is after hours, or take your homework home with you, or do it on admin days, you can do that. If you want to work in industry and not see patients at all, as we know our boy JD talked about years ago, you can do that as well too. It's just so many different ways you could take your career in this career. It's probably one of the most flexible careers in which you could have two optometrists doing two completely different things. And that's probably one of the reasons why I say making private practice seem like this pedestal is not the truth. Now, I would never change it for the world. I love private practice and I encourage everybody to consider it. I think it's the greatest thing, but that's me. And I'm not everybody else. And I think it should be an open plate to be in whatever type of modality you want to be in. That's my
great.
long tangent.
I love that. We love tangents. I was just listening. Everyone's like, come closer to the camera. But I was like, no, I'm just enjoying just hearing you speak. I feel like when I see you, I'm looking in a mirror, honestly, because everything that you're saying is like resonating with me. I too started my Instagram in 2018 and I was one of the first people to utilize it. I'm about to start my own business as well. And also I heard that you are married to an OD. As am I.
This is true.
So tell us a little bit about do you like being married to someone in the same profession? Do you hate it? And then I'll kind of tell you how it is with us too.
Yes, I would love to hear you.
And do y'all work together?
Ooh, good question. There's a story with that one too. So yes, I did meet my wife in optometry school. I was a second year. She was a first year. So I want to say I was a predator going down the first years, but I did find the one. So she's an OT as well too. And part of the reason why I'm in Edmonton is because she is from Edmonton. And, they say happy wife, happy life, right? But ultimately, it's amazing. We actually just had this conversation today about a retinal detachment patient she had. I think one of the coolest things, what I'm trying to say with that point is that being with somebody that understands your life, understands your day to day, understands the things you deal with, is honestly such a blessing. And truth be told, we don't really talk about work. Very like people think all you would do is talk about work outside of work. And that is the complete opposite. We talk about it when it's necessary. And the beauty is that person understands you for those short durations of conversations, whether it's about patients or whether it's about the business side of things, or just about, the life of an optometrist as well too. So I think it's amazing, and I think it's a blessing to have her, in my life, and somebody that, as like, it's like kind of like your best optometrist friend is your wife, right? And it's pretty sweet to have that opportunity to have those conversations all the time. And the other advantage is we just talked about how having a second set of eyes is great with your patient. I basically have a second brain on demand about any patient case that I have any questions for, right? And she's a 4.0 student in school. Anything I don't know, that's my encyclopedia. It's great to have that kind of secondhand resource literally at any hour of the day.
Yeah.
So tell us about like working together. Do y'all work together? Have y'all worked together before? What's that vibe?
Great question. So when I first met her and I was going out to my rotations, I talked to her about, coming back to Winnipeg, which she did come for her rotations. So my rotations were Los Angeles, Chicago, New Jersey, New York. And I convinced her to do her rotations. You have to do one in Chicago and you have to do one in VA, right? So she did those two. And I convinced her to do her other two electives in Winnipeg, where I was, which was very kind of her because she could have gone to any beautiful place. And if anybody doesn't know, people call Winnipeg the Cleveland of Canada. So that gives you a reference of the city. Listen, I rep Winnipeg till I die. I think it's the best city in Canada. But anyways, just for the reference point of what I said, LA, New York, and then Cleveland. So she came there, and prior to that, she says, I would never want to work with you, ever. She's like, I just couldn't fathom trying to be in the room more than we need to in all good ways at work. But funny story is one of her rotations was at the clinic that I was working at. So she had to be there when I was there. And my preceptor had an emergency, or not my preceptor, so her preceptor had an emergency. And he was like, listen, I'm not going to be long, but I just need you to watch your patients for the next little hour while I'm away. And I don't know if I should say the story or not, but that's fine. We're going to say it now. He's like, I call her student. Can't call her student. So I walk in and she brings me the patient. I'm like, student, what do you got for me here today? And let's just say that didn't go so well in that moment. But ultimately, at the end of that rotation, she did say, working with you is not as bad as I thought it was going to be. So I did get the W in that one because I thought it'd be cool to work together. And then COVID happened and then everything kind of, changed. And as of right now, we do not work together. It's not because we don't want to, and it's not because we can't. I think it's just the way we have our setup where I'm kind of in the private practice and she is someone that works in the sublease and runs a sublease. It's kind of nice to have your eggs in different baskets and kind of a good balancing work lifestyle. But I don't think it's something that's for sure a absolute no in our future. And I could see us working together on stuff. But as of right now, we do not.
And Nadia, since you guys are twins, why don't you tell us about like your situation?
Guys,
I would love to
if
hear.
I had like a beard, like, don't we look kind of the same a little bit?
Well,
Both
you
wearing
did.
brown.
Yes, right. You did think I was Persian when I met you
I
first time
did
as well.
because
Too.
we did the whole "so where are you really from" thing.
Yeah,
Remember?
yeah.
I love my husband. He was the predator, as well. He was a third year and I was a first year.
Ooh,
Um,
even worse.
However, I love him to death, but I don't think I could be in the same office as him. We just have very different practicing styles. He's very laid back and I'm very type A about my schedule. And I think I would go crazy watching him like type B through the day. And I would be going crazy with my type A personality. But yeah, I agree. I think it's nice because usually before we would carpool to work. And so we would just have like that time driving where we'd be like, how was your day? And then we'd go over like patient cases together, basically. But I love it. I think it's, especially when we were in school, I don't know if you feel the same way, but like he knew exactly what I was going through, like when I was studying for boards, and like I was able to kind of put him on the back burner sometimes, and he'd like understand, you know? So I think coming from that place, especially like we had to live together for COVID. So I was taking boards like around that same time. And so I think in those years we kind of knew that this was going to work out. because like when I needed to like study, he was already graduated, he'd be in the room just letting me do my thing. So yeah, I think it's a plus. I mean, it's not for everyone maybe, but I agree. I think it's a good balance.
Yeah, and that's cool to see that you were saying how it's not for everybody, but there's also people that do it very well, and that's awesome. And I think it's a great perk. And I think you probably have, I would actually want to ask you: do you guys talk about work or optometry related topics all the time outside of office?
So yeah, like when we would carpool, we would usually talk, or like he likes to vent about sometimes his patients, blah, blah, or I'll text him like, oh my gosh, I don't know what to do about that. So it's nice to, like you said, have a second kind of opinion sometimes as well. But it's very minimal. It's not our whole day. Like we'll spend like 5 minutes kind of during dinner, like recapping our day and our patient cases and that kind of thing. But that's it. Yeah. It's not normally
Yeah.
like wrapping around this and that. So yeah, I agree. It's like you have to know like where work ends and your life together begins, really.
And I also want to add too, I think it's that's a great point, because the perception, I feel like, if people are, two individuals that are married or a couple within the same profession, the perception is that's all you guys talk about. But I think the individuals that do make it out to real life from, being in a relationship with somebody in the same profession, is that their relationship is bigger than just what their profession is, right? I think the assumption of people saying that's all you talk about, well, then that just means your relationship is literally built on the profession and you don't have anything else beyond that. But we're normal humans too. We have hobbies and lives outside of optometry or patient care, just like you and your husband do. And we talk about those things too. And our relationship is built on individuals who we were outside of school and just go away. That's kind of the big foundation of it. Yeah, optometry was a building block of where you found each other. And it's a big part of your lives, but that's not the only part of your life. You wouldn't have made it to where you are in your relationship without all that, right? You got to talk about that.
Yeah. So optometry students, it's not too late. Let the older kids come into your class and hang out with you.
Yes.
I know we're making predator jokes, and I'll get my last question here. Throwback. We've done a podcast together. If everybody doesn't know, he was on the original Optoturban podcast, RIP. So what we talked about then was like, and I'm sure this is why your wifey found you attractive too, right? Like you got style. You're the dapper eye doc. Like in all your photos, your videos, you're always looking fly in clinic. I want to know tell me about some experiences with patients and how that maybe has affected patient care with compliance or experiences or compliments or being in private practice. Tell me how that affects you in clinic with your style.
Great question. And I'll lean back into the imposter syndrome, which I actually feel right now talking about it, is like, I'm always looking at style in other people, and I always think like, yeah, like I like my stuff, but I don't feel like I'm like, some stylist person. But that's where I'm trying to break through with my head with that imposter syndrome. So I appreciate the tag of the page and why I made it. But it's something that I think is where I infused the page from the beginning, in which when I started the page and the handle, I wanted to make it more than just, optometry posts. I wanted to be more than just an optometrist. I wanted to infuse my individual personality into it. And I've always felt that I've, at least in the mature stages of my life, kind of outside of childhood, being a teenager and stuff, enjoyed feeling good about the way I dress, or had kind of passions about that. Honestly, a part of the reason why I want to be in business, I wear a suit every day. Now I don't wear a suit every day, but I do try to be, at least enjoy what I'm wearing. And I think it's important to fuse any type of passion you have into the page. And for me, it was clothes, and it's something that is a privilege that I can wear whatever I want, being in private practice, and kind of use that. And it's a saying that somebody once told me, which I wish I could recall where I heard it or who told me. I just don't remember. So if somebody hears this and knows where this is from, please give the appropriate tag, or what's the word I'm looking for?
The credit.
The credit, yes. The credit to the individual, whoever created this. It was, 80% of feeling good is feeling that you look good. And I take that in not the sense of I want to look good for myself. I want to look good for my mental state and feel good for my mental state, because I find that if I feel comfortable or I feel good about the way that I present to myself in whatever way that is, whether it's making sure my haircut is good or my beard is good or my glasses match the outfit I'm wearing, or the shirt works good with the color of the pants and those kind of things, and just feeling that I feel good because I feel that I look good and how I present to myself, honestly allows me to practice better. I'm more confident. I have more joy in my day to day. I am more bubbly with my patients, which I think is so important to be. And, I haven't run the exact metrics on this, but I'm sure I could find that the days or the times after either, like I said, a fresh haircut or dressing in the days that I do feel good, I probably do better at work. And that is something I want to keep striving to. And if you can find some kind of passion like that, I think it makes a big difference. And, I'm still always tagging RW & Co. It's a Canadian company here in all the posts when I wear all their clothes. Pretty sure the sweater is from RW & Co. and they're waiting for that sponsorship. But apparently they don't want an optometrist on their sponsorship roster. But I'll keep trying. But it allows you to open up avenues within your passion, because something you'll learn is when you get opportunities, you want to take the opportunities that you truly believe in and care about. And I was fortunate that the suit that you guys saw me in, that brown one that I wore at Vision Expo, that was a collaboration opportunity I got because of my page, right? And I got to infuse one of my passions that I do. And yeah, compliment stuff are obviously nice because it feels good that, what the effort you're putting in is working. But to me, the biggest compliment is a patient enjoying their eye exam on a day when I feel confident. And if I feel like I feel good mentally, it's the biggest thing in the world for me. And I encourage everybody to try to feel good, whether that is dressing like or using that line, 80% of feeling good is feeling that you look good. I really think mentally it does so much for you. Hopefully that answers the question.
Would you wear a hoodie to clinic? This is the topic of many a debate on
Maybe,
the podcast.
maybe if it was like a mellow hoodie from 2014, 2015, one of those I might rock.
Hey,
No, absolutely no. I wear a hoodie to clinic and then change before I saw patients, but I would not wear one while I'm seeing patients.
JD, get you to write that down.
Would you wear one
You
with the
wear a
auto
hoodie?
refractor on it?
Huh?
Would you wear one with the auto refractor picture on it?
No, it's worse.
There are companies out there who leave that there.
They're not for clinic, JD.
I haven't worn it since. We talk about it.
Please,
Okay,
I'd love
all
to know when you worn this.
We'll send you the pod. We had
Yeah,
a whole
Hey,
no
podcast
hoodies.
about it.
you feel good, you look good, right? That 80%. That's what I'm saying. So I feel
JD
good.
felt good that day, You used to feel good. You feel comfortable.
You probably did some awesome numbers that day for
We're
sure.
gonna have you do our wardrobe next time too, because I mean,
hey, you know why I got to start with, man? Everybody here is looking sharp. Let's put it that way. Give it up
Hey.
for you guys,
I wore
man.
this
Y'all looking
because
sharp.
we
I
were doing the
appreciate it.
podcast with you. I told you. This is
Well, I
not
appreciate
our
the
normal.
effort. You guys, I hope tomorrow if you guys are seeing patients tomorrow, you pick your favorite outfit that's going to give you the most confidence, and you're going to have an absolutely crushing stellar day at work.
Let's
Beautiful.
go.
We love that.
Clip
Speaking
that.
about work, I have a question. I love
Please.
to hear about people's work week. So break down your Monday to Friday with us, because we know you're a husband, an optometrist, business owner, social media. So fashion, I'm sure you're like you do so many
LeBron
different
lover.
things. LeBron lover, yeah. So
The GOAT.
tell us about your week and then tell us how you balance everything.
Yeah, you know what? It's I find it interesting because I don't have kids. And if I try to say anything about how busy I am to a mom or a dad of a young one, I'm prepared to get like that patient's never coming back to me again. Cause if I think I'm busy, parents, you have to give it up to them to manage life with kids. They're the busiest people in the world. But you're right. It can be a lot. Like I'll give you an example of a week for me over the past month, which was summer. So it changes season to season, but generally speaking, so Mondays I will how much detail you want me to go into? Like everything I do in the day?
Everything. Yep.
Okay. Okay. So Mondays I see patients and I go to see patients throughout the day. I like to say Monday is like my little bit more my chill day. I know Monday everyone's like start of the week, let's roll. I kind of treat Monday a little bit more relaxed, but I see patients on Monday, and Monday evenings I spend time with my wife. She's off on Mondays, so Mondays are kind of our night where we will watch a show together, or we will do an activity together, or we'll discuss about life things together. And Monday night is kind of our night where we try our best to not let many things get in the way of that evening, because I'm still a husband, and honestly I want to spend time with my wife as well too. It's not just that it's something I'm putting on my schedule. I think it's important to put everything on your schedule and blocking time for whatever you're doing, because otherwise you kind of lose track of doing things that are quote unquote not on the calendar schedule, which is for yourself or for your partner. or for you guys as a unit. So Monday nights are nights where we try to just relax and just be with each other. Tuesdays is my late day at work. I wake up, I go to the gym, and then I see patients from 11 p.m. all the way through 7 p.m. And then on Tuesday nights, we have our book club meeting. So I'm in a book club and we read 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. My apologies.
We're all
So,
like, this guy
I was like,
seeing
wow,
patients
what a night
overnight.
owl. I mean, I'm a night owl, but I'm not seeing patients 11
You
p.m.
look good.
How
You
do you
feel
fill
good
your
no matter the
books?
time.
PM to
yeah,
PM, man. This guy's
no,
12-hour
we're
shift.
not we're not running a overnight McDonald's drive-through optometry clinic. That's for
Come
sure.
get your eyes checked.
Right. Yeah, and get a Big Mac at the same time. 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. Let me clarify. And then, I'm a part of a book club. Being a part of a book club, there's a meeting we do once a week over FaceTime for about an hour. And then Wednesday is I wake up, go to the gym in the morning, and then I have clinic from 9 till about 5:30. And then I was in a softball league, so I play softball Wednesday nights. And then after that's Wednesdays. And then Thursdays, I see patients. Again, same thing, gym in the morning. Summertime, sometimes the gym in the morning does fall off, to be honest, just because late nights and other activities. But I do my best as a planned 9 to 5. Patient care, and then Thursdays is my cleaning day. So me and the wife clean on Thursdays the house, and then Friday is gym in the morning, and the patient's 9 to 5. And then you try to on Thursdays. I should mention I try to squeeze in admin work in the evening if I can, after we're done cleaning, to just try to keep up on things because it does fall behind very quickly, being the business owner side of things. And then on Friday, if there's something going on, usually an event of some kind or this or that, or traveling to see you guys at Vision Expo, or going to, I do lecture at optician conferences as well. So sometimes on the weekend, I go to an optician conference to go lecture, fly out Friday, do the thing Saturday, Sunday, come back home. But Saturdays, and I also see patients as well too. And then I've been picking up golf over the summer. So I golf on the weekends, either Friday or Saturday or Sunday. And, I'm also involved with the Edmonton Society, which is like our city society of optometrists. I was fortunate to get the president position there. So planning and organizing events would usually be sometime on Sunday as well too, if possible. Now, I do want to say that is a lot. It is hard to manage, and balance is key. And I let balance fall off all the time. It goes up and down. I don't think it's easy to keep things juggled and balanced. There's moments where, I'm probably more heavy on work and the practice, and then that kind of goes down because I need to focus on my personal life, and that goes up and down. And I think that's okay as long as you are able to center yourself and then kind of balance things out accordingly, and have those conversations with your significant other as well too. I think it's important that you schedule that time with them and schedule time for yourself, because otherwise you will burn out and you will learn that you're not putting enough effort into certain things, and that's very, very important as well too. And the final thing I want to say is that it's busy, and there's times where I do wish, hey, it'd be so nice just to be an associate, see patients, and go home and not have to do anything else. But everything I told you guys is things that I choose to be busy with. And the blessing that I think we as optometrists should have is that we have the opportunity to be busy with the things we get to be busy with. And that's a blessing that not everybody gets. And you can choose as little or as much of the things you want to be busy with. And that glass half full mentality is what's kind of got me through the little chaotic times, knowing that these are things that you dreamed of when you were a student. These are things you dreamed of when you were an undergrad in high school, to have the opportunity to do all these kind of things. And when you keep that perspective, it doesn't matter how busy you are, you find a way to balance. And if you can't give something 100%, you drop it and move on to something else.
So tell us how you got your business partner in the first place. Like, how did you guys end up meeting? Like, how did the whole thing come together?
This is a great message to young optometrists in school. When you're in school, your primary focus is what? Class, labs, doing good in your practicals, getting good grades, focusing on passing sometimes, and just getting through the absolute chaos optometry school can be mentally. And how many times there's so many networking events happening at school, and sometimes you feel like, oh, I really need to study for this exam. I don't really have the time. Or there's the opportunity to network at different conferences, and students get discounts, or industry is willing to pay for a portion of it or pay for a part of your travel to go there, and you have schools and stuff in the back of your mind. You sort of question if I should go. I was one of them, and I wish that I could tell myself, take every chance you can to go to every single networking event as possible, because It is so, you don't know who you're going to meet, who that individual knows, and how that's going to influence their life or your life on top of that. In the world we live in, everyone knows the saying, it's not what you know, it's who you know. And as much as a kid, I wanted to say, that is not true. That is such BS. That should not be how the way this world works. That is just how the world works. And it's so important to know that, because when I was a second year student, we had our practice symposium in which individuals from different practice modalities would come to ICO, some of them alumni, some of them not, or were associated with ICO in some way. And I met the individual, Dr. Nano Wusu, will give him a shout out, who was a practice owner in Winnipeg at the time at the Canadian panel. And I had conversations with him, and we continued to talk about from Winnipeg and connected on things. And one thing that someone told me to do, again, I don't know who to get credit for this, but after that conversation, every time I finish a quarter of school, so ICO's quarter system, I'm not sure if you guys are quarters or semesters, but every time I finish a quarter of school, I would send him an email and just say, hey, Dr. O, just finished up my second quarter at school. I'm super excited to start the next one. Just want to give you an update on how things are going. And then he would give me an email back and we would communicate that. Every time I went home, I reached out saying, hey, I'd love to stop at the clinic just to say hi. And then we kept that communication going. I saw him a few other times after that as well. We went out to dinner. And in my fourth year of optometry school, he offered me a full-time position at his practice while I was still in school. And that was kind of like a, wait, what? Like, kind of those moments where, you're not searching, applying for jobs. A lot of job postings, as I'm sure JD might know as well, don't ever make it to the marketplace. They get taken based off, hey, do you know OD that would fit well in this profession? That's kind of what JD is doing is, yeah, absolutely. And they don't even get posted because it's about the network of communication. And then just to wrap the story up, after I started practicing with the individual, I was moved to Edmonton and we had the opportunity to collaborate and, open up the clinic together here. And he became a business partner. But had I not gone to that panel, had I not had that conversation with him in that moment, maybe even if I didn't keep up with the emails and the reaching out and just showing my appreciation for him being a little bit of a mentor to me, or not even a little bit, a lot of it, I might not be in the position I am, having this practice, having the opportunity to practice the way I want, having the opportunity to use my passion of, dressing and feeling good at work, and if using that into my team and if using that into how I want my career to go, it might not happen if I didn't network. And having the opportunity to come to Vision Expo and meet you guys, if I didn't attend those networking events, I might not have the chance to be having this conversation with you guys right now, or anything to do with my social media page. If I don't take the chance to network and put myself out there and remove the fear of imposter syndrome and just saying, hey, this is who I am, and put it in that world, you don't know what things you're going to miss out on. And that, it really is the bow on it, is that I still think networking is key, and communicating with others. It's just how you're going to find different paths and different avenues to success in your life.
What's crazy is, we're on season 4 now, and for this whole podcast episode that we've done together, you have just basically put everything we've talked about in the last 3 seasons in one episode here. So
Everything,
it's
including
nice
our
to kind
panel.
of,
Yeah.
it's kind of nice to, for everyone who listens to us on the regular to realize like what we're saying all the time is like real life, right? Like we always talk about networking, like going to these events. We always talk about, dressing your best. And, we've had a whole podcast on imposter syndrome. So it's like really great that we have you on here because it kind of just wraps up all of our time on the podcast here together. And we're so happy that we got to share this time with you. Tell the people where they can find you though. So if they want to reach out, if they want to follow you, where can they find you?
Yeah, so you guys can follow me or find me on Instagram and on TikTok at Dapper iDoc. I'm also on LinkedIn, but honestly, I probably don't respond as well. Send me a message on Instagram. I try to respond to everything that I get in there. So if everyone reach out regarding any questions or even just have a conversation, I'm open to anything. Just Dapper iDoc. I'm sure you guys will put it somewhere. And I just want to say you guys are doing a great job on the podcast, killing it. Like you said, these are the conversations you guys have. And it's so important to share that message. So great job on doing that. And it's such an honor to have the time to spend with you guys and have conversations. It's really an honor to be on the stage with you guys.
Perfect. We'll hire you for our next season. Don't worry. So we'll let you know.
We'll
If
start
I'm
a
sick,
Canadian.
you'll just come on in, it'll be fine.
That's right. I can be the person you call up from the G League as when needed on the roster, or we'll start a Canadian branch of it.
No problem. Well, good to see you. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks,
What a
guys.
great episode, man. We appreciate you, bro.
Appreciate it, man. Appreciate it. Great seeing you guys. And I can't wait to see you guys all again in real life at the next networking event.
Let's get it.
See you there. Bye.
Take care.
Yo.
Bye.
Hey guys, thanks for listening to the Depth Perception Podcast. Don't forget to like and subscribe on all of our platforms, including
Spotify,
Instagram,
Google Podcast,
Apple Podcast.
YouTube. Make sure you click that button. Double tap that.
So you guys have no reason not to follow us and tune in to the next episode.
Stop wasting time.
Get in depth.
Subscribe.